Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well this morning. Today, instead of doing stories about a specific subject, I am going to read books by one of my favorite authors, Tommy dePaola. He passed away last week, but he's one of the best children authors around, at least up to me, and he has won many awards that would also say so. We are sitting at home a lot these days, and we're thinking, oh, there is nothing to do, or we're bored. And it made me think of one of Tommy's stories, which I love, and it is Charlie Needs a Cloak. I like this book because it shows us the steps of creating something, and you are home and you can be creative in what you make. Charlie was a shepherd. He had a cozy house, a big hat, a crook, and a flock of fat sheep. We don't know much about living in the country, but we're gonna learn about Charlie. Poor Charlie. Look at him with all his sheep. He really needed a new cloak. Look at his cloak, which is like a coat. It looks like it's tattered. So in the spring, Charlie sheared the sheep. That means he cuts away at their wool. They're too hot, so it's good for them to get a haircut. He washed the wool to make it clean. And he carded out the wool to straighten it out. Those are big brushes. Then Charlie spun the wool to make it into yarn. Charlie wanted a red cloak, so he picked some pokeweed berries during the late summer and boiled them over a fire. Get what color it made? Red. That allowed Charlie to dye the yarn red in the berry juice. After the yarn was dry, Charlie put the strands in the loom. Has anyone ever seen a loom? My grandmother had one. And every fall evening, he wove the yarn to make the cloth. Charlie put the cloth on the table and cut it into pieces. He pinned the pieces together. See him making it? Look at the funny hat right there. And he sewed them. And when winter came, see the sheep? Their wool had grown back, so they were feeling nice and warm. And so was Charlie in his beautiful new red cloak. See what you can do when you have things around you and you use your imagination to create. I hope you like that story. Now I'm going to read one to you, which I love. And remember I said there was an award-winning book? Look at that one right there. That silver medal, that is a Caldecott Medal of Honor. That's because Tommy received that prize many years ago. Tommy's family was part from Ireland, part from Italy, so a lot of his books told stories from those areas. I'm gonna try to make the accent, but I won't be good at it. Please help me. This is Strega Nona. In a town in Calabria a long, long time ago, there was an old lady everyone called Strega Nona. Although all the people in town talked about her in whispers, they all went to see her when they had troubles. Even the priest and the sisters in the convent went to see Strega Nona because she just had a magic touch. She could cure a headache with oils and water and a hairpin. She made special potions for girls who wanted husbands, and she was very, very good at getting rid of warts. But Strega-Nona was getting old, and she needed someone to help her, so she went to the town square to see who wanted to be her assistant. In came Big Anthony. Anthony, said Strega-Nona, you must sweep the house and wash the dishes. You must weed the garden and pick the vegetables. You must feed the goat and milk her. And you must fetch the water. For this I will give you 3 coins and a place to sleep and food to eat. Oh, grazie, said Big Anthony. The one thing you must never do, Big Anthony, is touch the pasta pot. Don't touch the pot. It is very valuable and I don't want anyone to touch it. Oh, see, said Anthony. And so the days went by and Anthony did his work and Strega-Nona helped her with the people to cure headaches and warts on noses, and he milked the sheep and he took care of the animals, and he would see Strega-Nona standing over the pasta pot. He noticed that she would sing, bubble, bubble, pasta pot. Boil me some pasta, nice and hot. I'm hungry. It's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up. And the pasta pot bubbled and boiled, and suddenly it was filled with steaming hot pasta. Then Strega-Nona would sing, enough, enough, pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day. How wonderful, said Big Anthony. That's a magic pot for sure. And Strega-Nona called Big Anthony in for supper, but too bad for Big Anthony because he didn't see Strega-Nona blow 3 kisses at the pasta pot. And this is what happened. Well, Strega-Nona had to go to town one day, and Big Anthony was left alone. Has that ever happened, where you're left alone and you think of something you can do? And the day came when people would ask Big Anthony, how does Strega-Nona get all that nice, good pasta? And they wouldn't believe him when he said he didn't know. So Anthony thought one day when Strega-Nona went over the mountain that he would help her. There was some bread and cheese in the cupboard. Strega-Nona told him, don't touch the pasta pot. Oh, yes, yes, Strega-Nona, said Big Anthony, but inside he was thinking, this is my big chance. As soon as Strega-Nona set out of sight, Anthony went inside, pulled the pasta pot off the shelf, and put it on the floor. Now let's see if I can remember how that song went. Bubble, bubble, pasta pot. Boil me some pasta, nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up. And sure enough, the pot bubbled and began to fill up with pasta. Aha, said Big Anthony, and he ran to the town square and jumped on the fountain and shouted, everyone get forks and platters and bowls ready, pasta for all of Strega-Nona's customers from her house. Big Anthony had made the magic pasta pot work. Of course, everyone laughed, but ran home to get forks and plates and platters and bowls to make sure that they all got to eat from the very nice pasta pot. Big Anthony was a hero. He scooped out pasta and filled plates with platters and bowls. There was more than enough food for the entire town. And some people came back to get seconds and thirds. They were so hungry. When all had filled themselves, Big Anthony sang, "Enough, enough, my pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot, so simmer down, pot of clay, until I'm hungry another day." But alas, he did not know to blow the 3 kisses. He went outside to the applause of the big crowd. Remember, he was the town's hero. Big Anthony took a bow. He was busy listening to compliments from everyone that he didn't know that the pasta pot had not stopped boiling. "Oh, Big Anthony, look!" And pasta was pouring out of the pot over the floor in Strega Nona's house. And it was coming out the door. Big Anthony rushed and shouted the magic words again, but the pot kept bubbling. He took the pot off the floor, but the pasta pot kept bubbling. Big Anthony grabbed the pot cover and sat on it, and it kept pouring out. But the pasta raised the cover, and it kept going and rushed out of the house and into town where the people were. "We must protect our town from the pasta," shouted the mayor. "Get mattresses, tables, and doors, anything to make it stop." But that did not work. The pot kept bubbling and pasta kept coming into town. Can you imagine that? "We're lost," said the people, and the priest and the sisters in the convent began praying. "The pasta will cover our town," they cried, and it certainly would have had Strega Nona not come down the road as she returned from her trip. She didn't have to look twice to know what happened. She sang the magic song and blew 3 kisses at the pot, and the sputter stopped. But then they turned on poor Big Anthony. Stirring him up, the men of the town shouted. "Now wait," said Strega Nona. "The punishment must fit the crime." And she took a fork from a lady standing right there and held it up to Big Anthony. "All right, Anthony, you wanted pasta from my magic pot," said Strega Nona, "and I want to sleep in my little bed tonight. So start eating." And he did. Poor Big Anthony. Look at his belly from the pasta pot. But Strega Nona was able to sleep in her bed that night. We have to mind our parents. We know why they tell us things to do. They care. And Big Anthony learned a good lesson that day. So join me. We're going to do an art project today. I wanted for us to do an activity together this morning. I don't know what you may have at home, but I have these sheets with letters, or you can use another piece of paper that you have and draw on the blank side. I thought that if we could take a letter, perhaps we can create an animal with the letters that we write ourselves. As you can see, I have a letter C here. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the letter C off. I'm going to put another letter that looks like an O, And we are going to put cat ears and a little nose. And cats have what? They have whiskers, right? And then we're going to put a little tail on our cat so he can work with us as we do other projects, and he can help us imagine having more books to read and having art projects to create. For example, the book Art Lesson by Tommy DePaola, I learned how we don't copy when we're artists. We learn, but we use our imagination. If you enjoyed these books, you can call us at the library so you can pick them up, or you can check them out from our Overdrive ebook collection that you can watch and read at home on your tablets or phones or school computers, because reading is what makes you extra special. So we'll see you tomorrow with either Miss Leanne, Miss Shanteria, or Miss Adania. We want to keep you reading while you're at home. Yay!